Good evening, gentlemen. It is the commish chiming in, doing his weekly duties, doing a little weekly recap. I may do both tonight, including my weekly previews for next week. Recovering from my shoulder surgery, getting back in the saddle. Hurricane / co-commish. Thank you for handling some duties while I was out. Unfortunately, while I was out or was not out or whatever was going on, co-commissioner decided to rally some people up in the league. I don't know if there's collusion or not going on with this Doug Martin / everything in the world deal that's happening, where now basically Andy and Eric are switching players that were on the IR at much more expensive contracts for now cheaper contracts. Listen, I get what all the newbies are complaining about, Doug and Dustin and Derek and everybody in the world, but here's the deal. I mean, anybody could do it. I've actually kind of warned some people that maybe they should have dropped some players a while ago, a.k.a. Arian Foster should probably be dropped still. But other than that, you know, it basically just mixes up the league a little bit more here and there. Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, Eric may have helped his team out a little bit long term. However, if Andy didn't follow suit and drop Randall Cobb, I'm going to be honest, Eric would have been more screwed than anything. He would have been signing a bunch of secondary, third type players for nothing, but instead, yeah, he probably will get Randall Cobb tonight, which obviously won't happen at all this year, not that he should be playing for this year whatsoever, but in the future it will make a difference. Andy, on the other hand, happened to be the beneficiary in the future, again, of what Eric did because he dropped him. So, you know, it is what it is. It depends how you look at it. I was not willing to drop Monty Ball, for example, which would have gave me a chance at some of these people, because I like his long-term salary of $33 for possibly the next 3 to 4 years, because I think he will be starting in Denver before too long. Sean Moreno will not keep up with this. But that could have been my only move. As I look at other teams, Mike freaking Samuels, you should have dropped Arian Foster, you should have dropped some of these other people, and you could have been signing Randall Cobb to these long-term deals. You could have been signing Doug Martin to the long-term deals. These are some things you got to start thinking about when you're members of the league. I'm not sure how many others I would have really dug into. I just am thinking about Arian Foster off the top of my head. But I guess what I'm saying is everybody had a chance at it. Some people, Andy / Eric, jumped on it. I don't know if there was collusion involved. I like to think there wasn't. But they obviously knew what they were doing because of past league information. For guys who say, well, it's kind of a weird time, 6 o'clock at whatever, Tuesday, and blah, blah, blah. Well, we do it at 6 o'clock for a couple reasons as far as drops. One, typically I'm up pretty late for the most part, but sometimes I'm on the road. And, for example, Eric had to go ahead and change up all the stuff last night for me as I was traveling for work. However, if, let's say I do it at 11:50 at night on Tuesday, I'm not guaranteed to be by a computer every single night from 11:50 to midnight just to make sure all the WAB points are transferred correctly. And if so, then you don't get your proper bidding amount anyway. So that's what we do at 6 o'clock. It gives me / Eric, Commissioner, an amount of time where we can go ahead and adjust points. It gives everybody a set deadline. If people wait till 5:59 to drop them, then they, I guess, take that chance that everything goes perfectly at 5:59, but I don't foresee that always happening. So I wanted to address that whole free agency thing right off the bat, right off the top, in case people do have questions. I saw huge comments on it last night. Again, I've been kind of in and out with the surgery and travel and stuff, though, so wanted to address it. I want to also thank Derek Lehman for his $20 contribution to the league trophy. Based on not starting a couple members this past week. I will accept that in my PayPal account, which I've already published. Thank you much, sir. And let me see if there's anything else that I need to update. I will get that spreadsheet out. I will actually probably just wait until tomorrow because, as everybody knows, somebody's going to sign Randall Cobb. I will assume it's Eric, but I don't want to put it in yet. So I will probably do that spreadsheet tomorrow and have everybody updated with it then instead of this evening. And that should about wrap up most of the updates. Talking about last week, talking about some of the information, some of the games, some of the wins, the losses that happened. We got a little mix-up in the standings. Saw some teams, only one team increase, one team decrease. A lot of the people stuck at the same type level, though. The people that were supposed to win generally won. People that were supposed to lose generally lost. The only game that could have gone either way was probably Derek M and Eric H. And really that was kind of a toss-up game. And on the other side of things, we all know Doug's been talking a lot of trash. He couldn't live up to his own expectations and take me down. So he actually dropped below Derek in the overall type standings. So game by game, we'll start obviously with the big game of the week, Forte Yardash over the Prodigy. My fourth straight victory stops the Prodigy's little win streak. I don't even know what it was, maybe 2. And you know, when Doug and I were at the Bears game, we had a lot of conversation back and forth. Who was doing it for us? Who was not doing it for us? Who were expecting to have big games, big losses, etc. And I'll tell you what, Alshon Jeffrey looks like a man among boys out there. I remember Hurricane mentioning a few weeks ago, you guys are making Alshon Jeffrey the second coming of God, basically. Well, he might be. Have you watched him play? He catches everything. His hands are 18 times the size of any of ours, and he's a beast. He can jump. He's like 6'3", 6'4". I don't even know. But anyways, he had 21 points. He could have had a lot more if he didn't have a drop. Could have been a 30-point game for him. He led his team, along with RG3 playing his best game of the year. Watch out, everybody, in the future. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. Could be a heads up for RG3 in the future. Could be a big player for Doug later on. He does continue to be disappointed by 3.1 yards per carry, YPC. Mr. Trent Richardson, just a failure at this point. Listening to Fantasy Football Live online, they are basically saying to either drop or bench Richardson at this point. In fact, people are starting Donald Brown over Richardson. We could probably go along those same routes with Mike Wallace. Just two fantasy football flops at this point. And Doug, I'm going to be honest, even if you had Gronkowski, I don't foresee him putting up 41 points. So use that excuse if you like, or bad team management. My team led by Russell Wilson, Pierre Garçon, and Calvin Johnson, all above 25 points, got me to the win last week. 4th in a row. Stay first overall in my division, the West. In kind of a mini upset, we had Duke over the Vinegar Strokes. Again, this was one that could go in either way. I think a couple people favored the Vinegar Strokes overall, but Duke came to play. Specifically, Riley Cooper and Andre Johnson came to play. One of Derek's trades actually worked out well, and he actually started Riley Cooper. While he has been paired with Nick Foles, he has done a great job weekly. Cutler was even hurt in his game, went out early, and Derek still held on to the victory. Due to large part because Eric's starting a lot of mediocre players. While he's set very long term as far as nice contracts, young players, etc., these players aren't necessarily helping him out too much right now. You know, below 10 for Ellington, Hopkins with 12. Timothy Wright, his big pickup, I think he signed for 4 or 5 years, only 2.9 points. Gates, he's thrown out there with 10. Just a lot of mediocrity for the most part. Nobody that really had the 25, 30-point game. And again, because of that, he went home, falls farther behind in the playoff race, although he still thinks he can catch Derek Lehman in that horrible division. I mean, literally, the East Division, 5-5, 4-6, 2-8. Just a disgust division at this point. So, continue on, Eric. Continue trying to catch Derek L. Good luck. I don't know if you can do it because you guys both just keep losing at this point. On to the next game. And the, I think, biggest blowout of the week? I don't know. One of the top biggest, it was the biggest blow of the week. Andy over Derek L. Because Derek L. did not start 2 players, for one. For 2, he also started Toby Gerhart, which basically shouldn't have played, 0.4 points. He had one person, Adrian Pearson, over 20 points this past week. That's your division leader, putting up 63 points right now. The other side, Andy continued to look strong. He typically has 3 players or so, sometimes 2, sometimes 4. Go ahead and have huge weeks. He had that again this week. Brandon Marshall, 33. A.J. Green, 29. Pierre Thomas, 30. I mean, anytime you have 3 players putting up a combined 90 points, you're going to have a really good chance of winning. In fact, he could have started just Brandon Marshall and Pierre Thomas and almost beat the whole team that Derek L. came out with. Fun fact. Just a fun fact from the manager here, Commissioner. Nonetheless, they both stay in first in their division after that game, 158-63. In our next game, the Recto Renegades over Team 10, 144-76. Not a lot to say in this one, besides Kendall Hunter did a very good job of minus 1.2 points. Should there be a penalty for minus points? People who start people with minus points? I don't think so, but nonetheless, it'd be interesting. Ben Tate is going to have a bigger role now for Team 10, so glad he held on to him at this point. That could help him out in the future. All right, this week, 3 players in double digits: Steve Smith, Kendall Wright, and Phillip Rivers. The rest of his team just didn't come to play. It kind of started from the onset when he started Roy Halou. When he could have started Torrey Smith, put up 18 points. Instead, he started Halou, had 6 points, which he could have rotated Halou to Kendall Hunter, which made a 7.3 differential. The points start to add up. Again, it's back to team management, preparing properly. For Jason, Peyton Manning continues to be his god at 35 points, with Marshawn Lynch at 25, and MJD, a couple good weeks in a row, 17.4. So he's having some nice players step up for him. Brian Hartline in double digits again. Jason's team has probably three legit superstars who can put up very big numbers every week, and those 3 guys just kind of carried his team throughout. If his base players, his average players, are able to go ahead and step up just a tiny bit, Jason could be in the running for the championship. I know I've kind of blasted his team a little bit. Soft schedule, team not as good as record indicates, but keeps winning. Keeps doing well overall, and he is second in his division with a 7-3 record, right behind Pierce Brosnan, while Team 10 stays at 2-8 and stays at the 12th overall seed in the league. Next game, Pierce Brosnan over I Love Mike Ditka. I Love Mike Ditka continues to be throttled, I don't know if that's a word, by injuries. I don't even know what to say. Austin Pettis, 0. Jermaine Gresham, 0. Percy Harvin, 0. I don't even know. In fact, I want to look at his box score while we're here. I guess the only other thing he could have done here, he can't start his 4 people on IR. Kyle Rudolph put up a 0 for him this past week because he was also injured. Andy Dalton had 19, Stafford had 24. He could have literally not started a better team than what he put up with 53 points this week. I believe that is a new record low in the league for a week, and as he's kind of announced, he has pretty much quit at this point. Again, I guess this call, Dustin had probably one of his worst weeks in the league this year, or in the league this week of this year. Besides Drew Brees putting up 40 points, Moreno 20. He got a 0 from Myers. He got 6 from Cruz, 7 from Givens, 6 from Bailey, 7 from Sanders. Not a normal Dustin week overall, but besides starting Darren Sproles, he could not have done that much different with his lineup. Dustin continues to be the favorite as far as the schedule maker goes. Because of that, he is now 8-2. I Love Mike Ditka, 2-8, 11th overall. Dustin, the number 2 seed with the bye as of right now in the playoffs. In our final game, we have the Dutch Oven over the Final Ansa, 163-88. Almost another double-up game loss for Mr. Michael Samuels. His team continues to be so strong. Golden Tate for Mr. Samuels, though, did put up 22.5. It will be interesting to see how Percy Harvin's return impacts Tate/Baldwin, as he does have 2 Seattle receivers. Could definitely have some lower fantasy point totals as a result. The big issue for Mike's team is, Steven Jackson, who is paying just a ton of money the next 4 years. Another possible drop candidate that he could have got one of these other players for. He continued. He had 11 rush yards and 9 receiving yards this week. 5 stinking points. However, if he would have started Donald Brown, he could have got 17.3. 12-point differential puts him at over 100 points for the week. Starts to look a little bit better. Let's dig deeper into this. Clay, his tight end, 6 points. He could have also put in Pettigrew, 12 points. Another 6 points added on. Well, this obviously won't make a huge difference in this individual game. Lineup management, again, coming back to haunt some of our owners, other teams who are continuing to lose. Don't necessarily look at the projections. Look at some comparables, though. Look at some different rankings, 1 through 30 with ESPN through Yahoo. could make a big difference in your team. And for Scott, Scott continues to start one of his better teams overall. His lineup management is one of the stronger ones in the league. Oh, I'm going to have to put this on hold because YouTube only allows 15 minutes. I'll come back.